Third in our warm-up is our motor control and activation sequence. Before we start, it's important to note that these are programmed as needed, which means you probably won't have to do all of these. What we want to do is we want to use the ones that we're weak with and try to get those stronger so it helps us later on in the lift. So if your glutes are strong and you know that you know how to activate and turn on your glutes and use them when necessary, then you may not have to do the glute portion. If your overhead mobility is really good, then you might not have to do the shoulder portion. So you can kind of skip through, use the things that you need, don't do the things that you don't. I'm going to show you the progression for each one, and your goal is obviously to move further along the progression, which will help you, like I said, during the training session to follow. So to start, we'll start with the glutes. This tends to be a trouble spot for a lot of people. Lay down flat on the ground. What I'll start with most people is just an isometric hold. So that just means there's no movement. Once you get to the top position, you're going to stay there. So I place my hands flat on the ground. My feet are about 6, 8, 9 inches away from my hips. Chin is down. I'm going to tilt my pelvis up toward the ceiling. So you want to avoid this arch in the back. I pull my tailbone up toward the ceiling, and then I'm going to drive through the heels, trying to keep my chest nice and low. You want to make sure that you don't come up in the chest, because that's when you get that arch in the low back. So you just hold here for 10 seconds, and you'll feel, the glutes start to fatigue just a little bit. Once people get that down, I'll move into just 10 straight reps. Up, down. What we want to do is we want to try to get as long as we can from the knees all the way to the shoulders. Once they get that down, then I'll move them to single leg. So you can do this a couple different ways. You could just drive the knee up to the chest. You could take a tennis ball, put it here, on the hip, and then pinch the tennis ball with your leg. If you're able to keep your hips square as you do this, that's totally fine. If you're not, you can just take your opposite hand, place it on the knee, and then again, same thing, tilting the pelvis up toward the ceiling. Drive through the heel. So I might program one set of 5, 6, 7 on each side. From there, so that's the one way that you can activate the glutes. The second way would be your internal and external rotation. So you'll need just a mini band, place it around your knees, and then you could use a medicine ball or a foam roller in this case. What you're going to do is you're going to place the foam roller up against the wall. I like to pick it up off the ground. Take my knee, place it against the foam roller, and then I'm driving the knee into the wall to keep the foam roller from falling on the ground. I'm going to position my other foot about shoulder width apart, and then from there I'm just going to let the band pull this knee in and then drive the knee out. I get on the outside of my foot here, and you'll feel the glute turn on. So we might go just one set of 10 on each side here. So that's another way that you can turn the glutes on. We might also do just single leg holds. So you'll see a lot of people when they maybe land, their knees collapse, or if they land on one foot, the knee collapses. And oftentimes it could be ankle mobility, but also the glute is responsible for turning that leg out or turning the femur out to the outside, keeping that knee in line with the ankle and the hip. So what we'll have people do is just place their feet about shoulder width apart, bend the knees, bend the hips, shift the weight onto one leg, and then come up balance. Again, not letting this knee cave. We want to keep the knee pushed out. Hold for about 3 seconds, place the foot down, switch sides, shift the weight, hands on the hips, and then keeping the knee intact. Switch sides. So I might do 3 or 5 on each side. We also add body weight squats to the mix. So this would be the 4th movement in the not in the progression, but 4th of the glute movements. So feet shoulder width apart. You don't want to be perfectly straight with your feet, but you also don't want to turn way out. You've got some variability here. And then all we're doing is dropping our hips, trying to get our hips below the knee joint. From the side looks like this.